Oh, you know what? I might have to pause that Alexa upstairs.
Alexa, off. So it's 2018. It's top of the new year. I wanted to start doing videos besides my Instagram page and my Facebook page, Mike's RC World. I have not ventured into YouTube as of yet. This is the start of that. Hopefully it doesn't suck. I do have my friend Brian here. He's going to make it not suck. Anyways, for you who don't know me, I'm Mike Lohman, on the forums as One Bad Jeep Bruiser. Before I dive into what I really want to head with the channel, which is going to be reviewing models that I've built, things of that nature, I kind of wanted to introduce myself. I've been in the hobby now. It's going to be almost 23 years. My first real experience was when I was 9. My mother was dating a guy named Jeff, who is now my stepfather, and as like an icebreaker, she was going to have him come over. She tells you, oh yeah, Jeff's coming by, so make sure your truck is charged. At the time, I had a Tyco Bandit, and I thought this thing was the baddest ass RC on the block. 9.6 volts, turbo, this thing was legit. It would peel the fuck out in the sand in front of the house like nobody's business. And he comes out, and he's got a Tamiya Midnight Pumpkin and a Tamiya Wheelie Pajero, the originals. I'm like, these things are awesome. And right there, that was kind of what sparked the whole phenomenon. He's like, yeah, and you could buy different motors and shocks and this, and they're upgradable. And I'm like, well, it doesn't matter, because I've got the Tyco Bandit. This thing is for real. The most memorable thing for me is he charges up the pumpkin, and he puts the battery in this thing, and it leaves on the wheelie bar, cross the street, monster wheelie. And then he lets me try it. So, needless to say, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm using the old school stick controller. He's like, yeah, you gotta be careful, it's a lot faster, this, that, other thing. As he's in the middle of explaining to me how to even use the thing, I mash the throttle, the thing takes off on a monster wheel stand across the street and smashes right into the curb, blows the front bumper off, and I'm like, oh man, this is not good. So, obviously back then he held it together the best he can, but I think he was probably pretty pissed. And from that point forward was really what started my addiction, if we'll refer to it as that at this point, into the hobby and the collecting and the upgrading and the modifying and so on and so forth. So he ended up gifting me my first hobby grade truck, which was a Tamiya Blackfoot, and this thing was like, to me, the holy grail of RCs. So that truck started it, and shortly thereafter, being a huge monster truck fan and stuff myself, even cooler than the Blackfoot in my mind was the Cloudbuster, which he had obtained himself a couple months prior to my 10th birthday. He was building up his ESP Cloudzilla 2 chassis, 4-link kit, JPS wheels. The truck was decked out. Still in the collection here to this day. So for my 10th birthday, I did get the Cloudbuster. Still have it. Nothing like it used to be. It's a full-blown race truck, tweaked racing chassis, full link. The thing's ridiculous. 12-turn motors. From there, once I got the Cloudbuster, it really just took off. Shortly after getting the Cloudbuster, I became familiar with the Tamiya Bruiser and Mountaineer, the original Hilux with 3-speed transmission. That was where I really, really fell in love with the hobby. I was always more about the trucks looking more realistic, so throughout the years, as I was collecting, everything was about making the trucks more and more realistic. I didn't end up getting my first Bruiser until 13, 14 years old or so. At the time, I paid $180 for it, which was unheard of for a vintage Tamiya 3-speed. From there, it led to another Bruiser, another Mountaineer, more Cloudbusters. Things really took off once, obviously, I was a little bit older and you're on the forums and stuff. Really, the main forum was RCMT back in the Easy Board days, and RC Jim's place. That's where I really hung out in my earlier days, doing my Cloudbusters with, well decked out with APM parts. My big thing was mimicking all the old school Clods that were in the RC Car Action magazine. So tilt hood, tilt bed, Palmer Hemis, any APM, smoking hobbies, CCP parts, anything I can get my hands on. That's what I wanted to build. I wanted the baddest ass, old school style Cloudbusters that I could build and find the parts for and could afford at the time. Things really started to take off when in 2004 the website RC Crawler formed. And when it first formed, I didn't have any crawlers. I did have my Bruisers, my Mountaineers, which I would do like scale driving with. I remember going on the page and being like, "Oh my god, I can't post on here. These guys are freaking crazy. It's like a mini Pirate 4x4." I lurked for a while, and when I finally bought my first TLT crawler, TLT1 Rockbuster, was Tamiya's 1/18th scale, little mini monster truck. And what all the scale guys and crawler guys did was they stripped the axles out of them, and either using custom made chassis, or really at the time, if you had deep pockets, you would buy Bruiser chassis and you would, build scale trucks and stuff. So my first crawler was really the Hulkworks built. Was a guy in RC crawler, tube chassis, like pre-runner rock crawler type thing. And from there, I started seeing what everyone was doing with the Bruisers. And now at the time, the Bruisers were still super expensive. You'd pay $100 for a bear cab. There was no RC four-wheel drive TF2s or any of that stuff at this point. You had to have really deep pockets to build one. And there was a couple of guys that really built some badass trucks. My friend Dean, Chino63, he had what everyone knows as the original scale crawler. And this was a Tamiya Bruiser chassis. Cut the sleeper cab off, made a toolbox out of it, the TLT axles. No one really had scale wheels at the time, and he cut down masher tires, Proline stock car wheels for the touring cars to get the smaller size. And once I saw that truck, I was hooked. I already had the Bruisers, but this thing was, in my opinion, 1,000 times more realistic. Once that started, what we called cloned the truck. I was in magazines, really inspired a lot of people, and it kind of pushed the direction of the hobby from the comp side of crawling into the scale side of crawling. And in the midst of all this, companies like RC Four-Wheel Drive and other vendors in RC crawler all stepped up to the plate and started making scale parts, scale chassis, scale wheels, scale tires, so on and so forth. And now, all these years later, 10 plus years later at this point, we have trucks like you see here. This is one that I've been working on. This is the RC Four-Wheel Drive TF2 log wheelbase. And as you can see, it's pretty heavily modified at this point. This is kind of my holy grail at the moment in terms of scale builds. It's got an opening hood, and we got a full detailed engine bay, GCM Racing 3D printed 22R motor, RC Molex front bumper, RC Four-Wheel Drive sliders, worn rear bumper. It's got a full interior that I flocked, light up gauges, tons of custom built scale stuff and accessories. So just overall, a really cool truck. And something like this was not available all these years ago. So I've been around since really the dawn of it, building trucks that were not obviously to this level, but back then it was hugely expensive. And now the scale scene is off the chart. It makes me laugh because when I think back to the beginning days on RC Crawler, it was said that it was just going to be a fad, that it was never going to be as popular as touring cars or the nitro buggies and so on and so forth. And now it's probably one of the largest segments of RC, which is awesome, because I've been around really for the whole process from before it even was a thing till now, which is really cool because I've got to watch it evolve. This is currently what I'm working on. You can see obviously the collection is 100 plus deep now at this point. Always working and building new things. I obviously love Toyotas because I'm used to be a Toyota mechanic, so I've always had my heart into Toyotas, and I always loved the old school pickup trucks. Owning an 83 full size truck myself, and then obviously drag cars and monster trucks, always been my thing. The Clodbusters, still my thing. Still always building and trying to collect all the old vintage Clodbuster stuff. I'm at a point now where I'm trying to juggle all the aspects of it. I still think my favorite thing is still the Clods to this day, and then secondly probably the Toyota Scalers, just because I'm a Toyota guy. But that's kind of where I'm at.